Hello. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Wherever you are right now, whatever kind of day you've had, you can let it all go. You've made it through another day, and now, the only thing left for you to do is rest. There's nothing more you need to accomplish tonight. No more tasks, no more lists, no more trying. Just this. Just here. Just now. Let yourself settle in. Feel the weight of your body pressing gently into wherever you're lying. Feel the softness beneath you, the warmth of the blankets around you, your pillow cradling your head like a gentle hand holding you close. The room around you is quiet. The world outside is growing still, and in this stillness, you are safe. You are held. You are home. Before we begin our story tonight, let's take a few slow breaths together. There's no rush. There's nowhere else to be. Breathe in gently through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now hold that breath softly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and slowly, slowly, let it out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beautiful. Let's do that again. Breathe in, slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, gently. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and release, soft and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time. In, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. So good. Feel how your heartbeat is slowing. Feel how your shoulders are dropping. Feel how your jaw is unclenching. You don't need to hold on to anything right now. Your body knows how to rest. Your body has been waiting for this moment all day. And now, finally, it can let go. Now, I want you to imagine something with me. Picture all of the thoughts from today, all of the worries, all of the unfinished conversations, all of the things you meant to do but didn't, all of the things you're afraid you might forget by morning. Gather them up, gently, one by one. Imagine placing each one of those thoughts, each worry, each concern, into a large, heavy iron chest, an old chest with thick walls and a heavy lid. Take your time. There's no rush. That email you forgot to send, place it in the chest. That conversation that went wrong, place it in the chest. That thing you're worried about tomorrow, place it in the chest. That old familiar ache that sometimes visits you at night, place it in the chest too. Now, close the lid. Hear the heavy clank of iron. Feel the weight of it sealing shut. Turn the key. Click. Now imagine carrying that chest to the edge of an endless, dark, calm ocean. The water stretches out before you, moonlight resting on its surface like scattered silver. The waves are gentle, barely whispering against the shore. And now, let the chest go. Push it gently off the edge. Watch as it tilts and falls and sinks, slowly, down, through the deep blue, past streams of moonlight, down, into the soft, quiet darkness of the ocean floor. Gone. Those things are held now by something far deeper and wider than your mind. You don't need to carry them tonight. You don't need to solve them tonight. They will be there in the morning if you need them, but tonight they are not yours to hold. And as you lie here, with your hands empty and your heart growing quiet, let me share something with you. Something that was spoken a very long time ago, by a voice full of kindness. There was once a man who looked out at a crowd of tired people, people who had been working too hard, carrying too much, trying to hold everything together by themselves. And he said to them very simply, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Come to me, all of you who are weary." That invitation still stands tonight. It stands for you, right here, right now. You are allowed to rest. You are invited to rest. It is not weakness. It is not laziness. It is a gift, freely offered, to anyone willing to receive it. And there's something else, something beautiful. A song that was written thousands of years ago by someone who understood what it feels like to lie in the dark and wonder if everything will be all right. He wrote, "In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. In peace I will lie down and sleep." You are not the night watchman of your own life tonight. You can put down the watch. Someone else is keeping guard. Someone who never sleeps, who never grows tired, who never looks away. The one who watches over you will neither slumber nor sleep. So close your eyes, if you haven't already. Let your breathing continue, slow and gentle. And let me tell you a story about a life that changed everything, told very slowly, very gently, like a river finding its way to the sea. This is not a story about theology or doctrine. This is a bedtime story, a story about a person, about quiet towns and starlit hills, about kindness and bread and still waters. So rest, dear one, and listen. Let the words wash over you like warm water. And if you fall asleep, that is exactly what is meant to happen. You are safe. You are held. You are loved. Let us begin. A long, long time ago, in a world that was both very different and very much the same as ours, there was a young woman named Mary. She was not wealthy. She was not famous. She was simply a person. A quiet, gentle person, living in a small village called Nazareth. Nazareth was a tiny place, nestled among hills the color of warm honey. The houses were made of pale stone, and in the evenings, the setting sun would paint their walls in shades of amber and rose. Mary's days were simple. She drew water from the village well in the cool mornings. She ground grain into flour with steady, rhythmic hands. She hung her washing on lines where it caught the breeze and dried in the sun. Life was quiet in Nazareth, the kind of quiet that modern life has forgotten. No screens, no notifications, no noise that wasn't made by wind or birdsong or the distant bleating of sheep on the hillside. And beside Mary, there was Joseph, a carpenter, a man whose hands knew the grain of wood, who could tell you the type of tree just by its smell. Cedar, olive, sycamore. His workshop smelled of fresh shavings, of sawdust that caught the light like tiny golden feathers floating in the air. Together, Mary and Joseph set out on a journey. The Roman emperor, far away in his marble palace, had ordered that every person must travel to the town of their ancestors to be counted. And so, Joseph and Mary made their way southward, toward the little town of Bethlehem. It was a long journey, many days of walking along dusty roads, past fig trees and olive groves, through valleys where wildflowers grew in soft clusters of purple and white. Imagine walking with them for a moment. The path beneath your feet is dry and warm. The dust rises in small, lazy clouds with each step and settles softly behind you. On either side of the road, the land rolls gently, like a sleeping body breathing. Olive trees stand in silver-green rows, their leaves catching the light, turning and flashing, like tiny fish in a stream. The air smells of wild thyme and warm earth, and something sweet that you can't quite name. Maybe it's the blossoms of a distant almond tree, carrying their fragrance on the evening wind. As the day grows long, the sky begins to change. The blue fades slowly into lavender, then into soft amber, then into a deep, gentle gold, and the first stars appear, one by one, like candles being lit in a great, quiet house. Mary and Joseph walk in gentle silence. There's no need for words. The road knows where it is going. Their feet know the way. Step after step after step. And the stars above them multiply until the entire sky is a sea of light, so thick with stars that you could almost reach up and let them pour through your fingers like warm sand. Bethlehem was a small town, perched on a hillside, its stone buildings glowing faintly in the moonlight. When they arrived, the town was crowded. So many people had come for the census. The inn was full. Every room was taken. But this is not a story about being turned away. This is a story about finding shelter where you least expect it. The innkeeper, a kind man with tired eyes and flour on his apron, looked at Mary and saw how weary she was. He could not offer them a room, but he could offer them something else. "Come," he said. "I have a place. It's simple, but it's warm, and it's dry, and it's quiet." He led them around the back of the inn, down a narrow stone path, to a stable carved into the hillside. A cave, really, a place where the animals slept. "And here, I want you to slow down with me even further, because this place, this simple, humble place, is going to become one of the most peaceful spaces in all of storytelling. Step inside the stable with me. The first thing you notice is the warmth. It's surprisingly warm in here. The stone walls hold the heat of the day like a gentle embrace, and the bodies of the animals, a donkey, an ox, a few sheep, they add their own soft warmth to the air. The ground is covered in fresh straw, golden straw, clean and dry, that rustles softly beneath your feet as you step inside. It smells of summer fields, of harvested wheat, of long, warm days dried into golden threads. Breathe that in for a moment. The smell of straw and hay, and the warm, earthy scent of animals resting peacefully. It's not unpleasant at all. It's grounding. It's real. It smells like the earth itself, like belonging, like home. In the corner, an oil lamp flickers, just one small flame, casting a warm orange glow across the stone walls. The light dances gently, painting soft shadows that move like slow, quiet music. The flame is small, but it fills the space with a golden haze, a warmth that your eyes can feel, the kind of light that makes everything look soft and safe and ancient. There is no harsh light here, no blue screens, no fluorescent glare, just the soft, amber glow of a single flame. And the sounds. Listen carefully. The soft breathing of the animals, slow and steady, like a lullaby without words. The ox breathes deeply, in and out, in and out. The donkey shifts its weight gently, and the straw crinkles beneath its hooves like the turning of old, dry pages. From somewhere far away, on the hills outside Bethlehem, you can hear the faint sound of sheep, a soft, distant bleating, not urgent, not afraid, just there, a sound as old as the hills themselves. And the wind, the gentlest wind, passes across the mouth of the stable, making a sound like a long, slow exhale. Shh. This is the world's most unlikely sanctuary, a cave, a stable, a place for animals, and yet it is the safest, warmest, most peaceful place in all the world tonight. And it is here, in this golden warmth, surrounded by the scent of straw and the breath of animals, that a baby is born. A small, perfect baby boy. His eyes are tightly closed, his tiny fingers are curled, his skin is warm and new. Mary wraps him in soft cloth, strips of linen that she brought with her, winding them gently, carefully around his small body, swaddling him, holding him close. She lays him in a manger, a feeding trough carved from stone, lined now with soft, clean hay. Imagine that manger for a moment. It's not grand, it's not golden. It's a simple stone box, filled with hay, holding the smallest, newest life. And yet, it is enough. More than enough. It is exactly right. The baby sleeps. His breathing is the tiniest sound, barely a whisper, the softest rhythm in the room. In and out. In and out. Mary watches him. Joseph stands nearby, one hand resting on the rough stone wall, his face lit by the amber glow of the lamp, his expression the quiet, unshakable tenderness of a new father. The animals seem to know that something extraordinary has happened. They are unusually still. The ox lowers its great head gently. The donkey stands quietly in its corner. Even the sheep in the hills outside seem to have grown hushed. The whole world is holding its breath. Not far from Bethlehem, on the dark, rolling hills, there are shepherds. They sit around a low fire, its embers glowing orange and red in the darkness. The flames have died down to coals, and the heat radiates outward like a warm hand pressed against your chest. These are ordinary men, working men. Their cloaks are rough and worn. Their hands are calloused from holding staffs and carrying lambs. They smell of lanolin and wood smoke in the outdoors. Around them, their flock rests. Dozens of sheep, lying in soft clusters on the grass, their woolly bodies pressed close together for warmth. The sheep trust their shepherds. They have no fear. One shepherd is counting them softly, under his breath, as shepherds do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Each sheep accounted for, each one known, each one safe. 11, 12, 13, 14. The night is deep. The stars overhead are brilliant, more stars than you could ever count, scattered across the blackness like diamonds poured from a bowl. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then, something changes. It doesn't come with thunder. It doesn't come with fear. Not in this story. Not tonight. Tonight, the light comes gently, like dawn arriving early, like the sky remembering it can glow. A soft golden brightness fills the air around the shepherds, not blinding, not harsh, warm, like stepping from a cold room into a room where a fire has been burning all day. And in that light, there is a voice, a calm voice, a voice like someone you've known all your life, but are only now hearing for the first time. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. I bring you good news, news of great joy for all people. Today, in the town of Bethlehem, a Savior has been born. You will find him wrapped in cloths, lying in a manger. And then the sky fills, not with noise, but with singing, the softest, most beautiful singing you could imagine, as if the stars themselves have learned how to sing. Glory to God in the highest, and on earth, peace. Peace. The word hangs in the air like the last note of a lullaby. Peace. And then the light fades gently, the singing softens, the stars return to their quiet positions, and the night is still again. But the shepherds can still feel it, the warmth, the peace, the knowing that something has changed. They look at each other, and without a word, they rise and walk toward Bethlehem. And when they find the stable and see the baby sleeping in the manger, their faces soften. These rough, weathered men, who spend their lives on cold hillsides guarding sheep, they kneel, not because anyone told them to, but because some things are so tender, so quietly powerful, that kneeling is the only response that makes sense. And the baby sleeps on, warm, wrapped, safe, just as you are now, warm, wrapped, safe. The oil lamp continues to flicker, the straw continues to smell of summer, the animals continue their slow, steady breathing, in and out, in and out. And the night holds everything, gently, in its dark, soft hands. Silent night, holy night. All is calm, all is bright. Rest now, if you'd like. Let the image of that warm, glowing stable stay with you. The orange light, the soft straw, the tiny sleeping baby, the quiet breathing of gentle animals. Or stay with me, and we'll walk a little further into this story. There is no hurry. There is nowhere else to be. There is only this, and you, and the quiet voice of the night. Divine Rest, the Life of Jesus Christ, Part 3, Nazareth, the Quiet Years, 20 minutes. Years passed, the way years do when you are not watching them, slowly, gently, like clouds crossing a wide blue sky. The little baby from that warm Bethlehem stable grew. He grew the way all children grow, one small day at a time. His name was Jesus, and he grew up in that tiny village we visited earlier, Nazareth, the village of honey-colored hills and quiet mornings. Imagine Nazareth in the early morning. The sky is pale, not yet blue, that soft, silvery color that comes just before sunrise, when the world is holding its breath between night and day. The air is cool and still. Dew clings to the wild grasses on the hillside, tiny droplets catching the first light, making the earth look as if it has been scattered with glass beads. A rooster calls somewhere in the village, not harsh, just announcing, the way a rooster does, a sound as old as mornings themselves. And then the sun appears, slowly, over the eastern hills, a thin line of gold that widens and deepens until the light spills down the hillside like warm honey poured from a jar. The stone houses begin to glow, the olive trees begin to shimmer. The dew begins to evaporate, rising in the faintest mist, like the earth is sighing with contentment. This is the world Jesus woke up to every morning, this quiet, this beauty, this unhurried beginning. Joseph's workshop was a simple room attached to their home. It had a wide doorway that opened onto the narrow street, letting in the morning light and the sounds of the village. Inside, the floor was covered in wood shavings, curls of pale wood, cedar and olive and sycamore, lying in soft drifts like fallen leaves. The tools hung on the walls, simple tools, a saw with a wooden handle, smooth from years of Joseph's grip, a chisel, a plane, an awl, each one placed carefully in its spot, each one known by the shape of its shadow on the wall. Close your eyes and step inside this workshop with me. The smell hits you first. It's one of the most soothing smells in the world, fresh-cut wood, cedar especially, with its sweet, warm, slightly spicy fragrance. It fills the room like invisible warmth. And beneath it, the deeper, earthier smell of olive wood, rich and complex, the smell of trees that have stood for hundreds of years, that have watched civilizations come and go, and kept growing, slowly, patiently. Joseph is working. His movements are slow and precise. He draws the plane across a piece of wood, and a long, thin curl rises from the surface, catching the light as it spirals gently to the floor. Shh, goes the plane across the wood. Shh, shh. It's a rhythmic sound, steady, predictable, like waves on a shore, or wind through tall grass, or the breathing of someone sleeping peacefully beside you. And there, sitting on a low stool in the corner, is the boy Jesus. He watches his father work. His chin rests on his small hands. His dark eyes follow the movement of the plane, back and forth, back and forth. Sometimes Joseph lets him hold a piece of wood, lets him feel the grain with his small fingers, running them along the surface, feeling where the wood is smooth and where it is rough, learning the language of trees without words. Every piece of wood has a story, Joseph tells him quietly. You just have to look at it long enough, and it will show you what it wants to become. And the boy listens, and learns, and grows. In the afternoons, when the workshop grew warm and the work was done, Jesus would walk into the hills. The hills around Nazareth are gentle, rolling, covered in wild grasses and scattered wildflowers. In the spring, they turn green, so green that the color seems to hum. And in the summer, they turn golden. The grasses dry to the color of warm sand, and they ripple in the breeze like a great, slow ocean made of light. Jesus would walk through these hills, slowly, the way you walk when you have nowhere particular to be. He would notice things, small things, the kind of things that most people walk past without seeing. A lily growing wild among the rocks, its petals so delicate, so perfectly formed, that it looked as if someone had painted it with a brush made of a single hair, white, with the faintest blush of gold at its center. He would stop and look at it, and later, much later, he would tell people about these lilies. Consider the lilies of the field, he would say. They do not labor or spin, yet even Solomon in all his splendor was not dressed like one of these. Don't worry about tomorrow, he would tell them. Look at the flowers, look at how they grow, without anxiety, without striving, simply opening. And you, tonight, don't worry about tomorrow either. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Tonight, you are a lily in a field, simply resting, simply being, simply opening to the quiet dark. In the evenings, the village gathered at the well. The well was in the center of Nazareth, a stone circle, weathered smooth by centuries of hands drawing water. The rope was thick and rough, the bucket was heavy. But the water it brought up was cool and clean and clear, water that had been filtering through limestone for ages, gathering minerals and cold and clarity in its long, slow journey underground. Imagine the sound of that bucket descending into the dark shaft of the well, the creak of the rope, the splash far below, echoing up through the stone, and then the slow, steady pulling, hand over hand, the rope rough against your palms, until the bucket appears, brimming with water that catches the evening light like liquid silver. The women of the village came to the well at this hour. They talked softly to one another while they filled their jars. Their voices blended together like the murmuring of a gentle stream. Children played in the dust nearby. Their laughter was high and light, like birds calling to each other across a meadow. And the sky above them was turning, that slow, magnificent turning that happens every evening and that no one ever gets tired of watching. Blue, to lavender, to rose, to amber, to deep, soft gold. Jesus watched these sunsets, every evening, for years. He watched the light change, the colors deepen, the first star appear, and he was at peace. At night, Mary would prepare the evening meal. The house was small and warm, one room mostly, with a low table, a few mats, an oil lamp, the same kind of oil lamp that had flickered in the Bethlehem stable years before, the same warm orange glow, the same gentle dancing of shadows on stone walls. Mary would bake bread, flat, round bread, made from flour she had ground that morning. She would knead the dough with slow, strong hands, pressing and folding, pressing and folding. The rhythm of it was like music, like a heartbeat. Press, fold, turn. Press, fold, turn. The bread would bake on hot stones, and the smell, oh, the smell. There is no smell in the world quite like bread baking. It is the smell of warmth itself, of nourishment, of home, of being cared for without having to ask. They would eat together, Mary and Joseph and Jesus. Bread and olives and cheese and figs. Simple food, good food, food that tasted of the land and the sun and the rain. And after eating, in the quiet of the evening, they would sit together, sometimes talking softly, sometimes in silence, the kind of silence that is not empty, but full of belonging, full of being known. The oil lamp would burn low, the stars would appear in the small window, and the boy Jesus would grow sleepy, his eyes heavy, his body warm from the bread and the fire and the love. And Mary would watch him drift off to sleep, and she would think about all the things she held in her heart, quietly, without urgency, like someone pressing flowers between the pages of a book, keeping them safe, keeping them close. Once every 7 days, everything stopped. The Sabbath, the day of rest. It was written into the rhythm of creation itself, into the very fabric of time. 6 days of work, and then a pause, a holy pause, a breathing space woven into the week like a thread of gold woven into a simple cloth. On the Sabbath, the village grew even quieter than usual. The workshops fell silent. The fields were left alone. The grinding stones rested. Even the donkeys seemed to walk more slowly. The family would go to the synagogue, the small stone building where the community gathered to read the scriptures and pray. But what I want you to notice is the rest, the deliberate, chosen, unapologetic rest. One whole day where the only purpose was to stop, to cease, to be still, not because the work was done, it never is, but because rest itself was sacred. Rest itself was the point. And tonight, you are entering your own Sabbath, your own holy pause. Your body may have things it needs to do tomorrow. Your mind may have plans and worries and lists. But right now, for this moment, you are resting. And that rest is enough. It is good. It is exactly what it should be. You are safe. You are held. You are loved. Let us continue. Slowly, gently, like the sun crossing the sky over Nazareth. Years continued to pass, quietly, the way ripples spread across a still pond, each one wider and gentler than the last. The boy became a young man. The young man became a man. 30 years of quiet living, of wood shavings and sunset walks and bread broken at a simple table. And then, one day, Jesus left Nazareth. He walked south, past the golden hills he knew so well, past the olive groves where he had sat in the shade as a boy, past the fields of wheat and barley that swayed in the wind like sleepers turning in their dreams. He walked toward the Jordan River. The Jordan, imagine it with me. It is not a wide river, not a mighty, roaring river like the ones you might picture. The Jordan is gentle. It winds its way through the landscape like a long, green ribbon, curving softly through a valley of willows and reeds and tall grasses. The water is clear in some places, muddy in others. It moves slowly, patiently, as if it has all the time in the world to reach the sea. And it does. Rivers always do. The banks are lined with green, lush, deep green, the kind of green that only grows where water is near. Papyrus reeds stand tall, their feathery tops catching the breeze and nodding gently like old men dozing in the sun. Willow trees droop their long branches toward the water, touching the surface, creating tiny ripples that spread outward and fade and disappear. The sound of the Jordan is one of the most peaceful sounds you will ever hear. It's not the crash of ocean waves. It's not the rush of a waterfall. It's a murmur, a continuous, gentle murmur, like a conversation happening in another room, where you can hear the music of the voices but not the words. Burble and splash and whisper. And beneath that sound, the deeper, slower sound of water moving over smooth stones, round stones, polished by centuries of current, in shades of brown and gray and soft green. Birds call from the reeds, small birds, with voices like tiny bells. They dart between the papyrus stems, flashes of brown and blue, here and gone, here and gone. And dragonflies hover above the water, their wings catching the sunlight, turning into momentary sparks of iridescent blue and green before they zip away to hover somewhere else. This is the Jordan. This is where Jesus came. Standing in the shallows of the river was a man named John. John the Baptist, they called him. A wild-looking man, dressed in rough camel hair, his beard long and dark, his eyes bright with something fierce and tender at the same time. John had been here for weeks, months, calling people to the river. "Come and be washed," he would say. "Let the water carry away what no longer serves you. Let it take your heaviness. Let it take your guilt. Start clean. Start fresh." And people came. They waded into the cool water, and John would gently lower them beneath the surface and lift them up again. And something in them felt lighter, newer, like the world had been rinsed. When Jesus arrived at the river's edge, John recognized him. Something passed between them, a knowing, old and deep. And Jesus stepped into the water. Feel the water with him for a moment. The first step, and the river is cool around your ankles. Not cold, cool, refreshing. The kind of cool that wakes your skin gently, like a soft hand touching your face in the morning. Another step, and the water rises to your knees. You can feel the gentle current pulling softly against your legs, not pulling you anywhere, just reminding you that the water is alive, that it's moving, that it's going somewhere beautiful. Another step, and the water is at your waist. The smooth stones beneath your feet are solid and sure. The mud between them is soft. The reeds on either side of you sway gently in the breeze. The sunlight dances on the water around you, breaking into 1,000 tiny lights, flickering, sparkling, like the river itself is smiling. And then, John places his hand on Jesus' shoulder, gently, and Jesus lowers himself into the water. The river closes over him, cool and clear. For one brief moment, the sounds of the world above grow muffled, distant. The birdsong fades, the breeze disappears. There is only the water, holding him, surrounding him, washing him. Imagine being held like that, completely, gently, by something that asks nothing of you, that simply holds you, simply supports you, simply says, "I've got you." And then he rises. The water streams from his hair, from his face, from his robes. The sunlight strikes him. The air fills his lungs. And in that moment, the sky seems to open, not with thunder, not with drama, with light. the gentlest, warmest light, like the light in the Bethlehem stable, but wider now, filling the whole valley. And a voice, the same kind of voice that spoke to the shepherds on the hillside, says quietly, "This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased." My beloved, in whom I am well pleased. Not because of what he has done, not because of what he will do, simply because of who he is. And I wonder if that same voice might whisper something similar to you tonight. My beloved, in whom I am well pleased. Not because of your productivity, not because of your achievements, not because of how well you handled today, but simply because you exist, because you are you, because you are here. The river continues its gentle murmur, the reeds continue to sway, the dragonflies continue their hovering dance, and Jesus stands in the Jordan, water dripping from his robes, the sun warm on his face, and he breathes, simply breathes, in and out, in and out. And you breathe too, slowly, gently, in the quiet of wherever you are tonight. You are safe, you are held, you are loved. Jesus went into the wilderness, into the quiet, into the empty places where there was nothing but sky and stone and silence. We won't follow him into every detail of those days. That's not what tonight is for. Tonight is for rest. But I want you to know that he went into the stillness, deliberately, intentionally. He chose silence the way most people choose noise. He chose emptiness the way most people choose fullness. 40 days in the desert, alone, with nothing but the wind and the stars and the vast, open quiet. And when those 40 days were over, he was ready. Not in the way the world prepares, with plans and strategies and noise, but in the way a tree is ready to bloom, because it has stood silently through the whole winter, roots deep in the dark soil, waiting, trusting, knowing that the spring would come. Spring always comes. And so, rested and ready, Jesus began to walk, and people began to follow, not because he shouted, not because he demanded, but because something about his presence felt like coming home, like sitting by a fire after a long journey, like hearing a song you forgot you knew. And the things he said, and the things he did, are what we'll discover next, slowly, gently, as the night grows deeper and your breath grows slower. Divine Rest, the Life of Jesus Christ. Part 5, The Hillside, Sermon and Still Waters, 20 minutes. One morning, Jesus climbed a hillside. Not a steep, jagged mountain, a gentle hill with a rounded top, covered in soft, green grass. The kind of hill that invites you to sit down, to lean back, to close your eyes and feel the sun on your face. Below the hill, the Sea of Galilee stretched out, calm and blue, like a great, still mirror reflecting the sky. You could see fishing boats far out on the water, their sails tiny white triangles against the blue, moving so slowly they seemed to be standing still. People gathered. They came from the villages nearby, from Capernaum and Bethsaida and Chorazin. They came carrying bread and water and children on their hips. They came slowly, the way people walk when they're tired but hopeful. And they sat down on the grass, hundreds of them, families, fishermen, farmers, tax collectors, women with tired eyes and calloused hands, children who wouldn't sit still. The grass was cool beneath them, that particular kind of cool that grass holds in the morning, before the sun has had time to warm it. Fresh, slightly damp, alive. And the breeze from the lake carried the scent of water, that clean mineral smell that lakes have, mixed with the fragrance of wildflowers growing in the nearby fields. Jesus sat down, not standing above them, sitting with them, among them, at their level. And he began to speak, very quietly, very gently, not shouting, not preaching, more like talking to friends gathered around a fire. His voice carried in the still morning air, the way sound carries over water, effortlessly, clearly, gently. The Beatitudes, blessings for the weary. And the things he said, they weren't complicated. They weren't hard to understand. They were like cool water offered to thirsty people. Blessed are the poor in spirit, he said, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the ones who feel empty. Blessed are the ones who know they don't have it all figured out. Blessed are the ones who come with open hands and say, I don't have enough. I am not enough. You are blessed, right now, in your not enoughness, in your tiredness, in your uncertainty. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. If you are carrying grief tonight, if there is a sorrow in your heart that you've been trying to push away, you are seen. You are blessed. Comfort is not just coming, it is already here. It is in the quiet. It is in the dark. It is in the gentle surrender of lying down and letting the night hold you. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. The meek, the gentle, the ones who don't push, the ones who don't force, the ones who let things unfold, slowly, like flowers opening in their own time. Blessed are the peacemakers. And you, tonight, are making peace. Peace with the day, peace with yourself, peace with the darkness, simply by being here, simply by resting. The lilies and the birds. Jesus looked out over the hillside, at the crowd of worried faces, and he smiled. Look at the birds of the air, he said, gesturing toward a pair of sparrows that were hopping along the grass nearby. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Follow the sparrows with your mind's eye for a moment. They hop through the grass, pecking here and there, finding seeds and tiny insects. They have no calendar, no budget, no 5-year plan. They simply live, day by day, moment by moment. One of them tilts its head, looks at you with a bright round eye, and then hops away, unconcerned, unworried, content. And why do you worry about clothes? Jesus continued, his voice warm with gentle amusement. See how the lilies of the field grow? They do not labor or spin. And there they are, the lilies he loved so much as a boy on the Nazareth hillside, growing wild among the grass, white and gold and delicate, each petal perfect, each one different. None of them worried about being beautiful. They simply are. If God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you? Will he not take care of you? Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Do not worry about tomorrow. Let that land softly on you like a petal falling from a tree. Do not worry about tomorrow. Tonight is tonight. Tomorrow is not your concern right now. Right now, the only thing that exists is this breath, this moment, this softness. After he spoke, the crowd rested. Some ate bread they had brought. Children fell asleep in their mothers' laps. Old men dozed in the warm sun. It was one of those rare, perfect afternoons where time seems to pause and the world holds still. And as you rest with them on this hillside, let me read you something ancient, something that has been comforting people for 3,000 years. It was written by a shepherd king named David, a man who knew what it was like to sleep under the stars, to be afraid, to be hunted, to be lonely. And in the middle of all of that, he wrote this: The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I shall not want. I shall not lack. I have enough. I am enough. There is enough. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He makes me lie down, not suggests, not recommends, makes. Sometimes, the kindest thing someone can do for us is to insist that we stop, to take our hands and say, enough, lie down, rest. Green pastures, picture them, endless, soft, the green of early spring, when the rains have come and the earth is generous. Grass so thick and soft that lying in it feels like lying on a living mattress, one that breathes and grows and holds you. He leads me beside still waters. Still waters, not rushing water, not crashing water, still water. Imagine a pool, a small, quiet pool fed by a gentle spring. The surface is so still that it reflects the sky perfectly, like a window into another world that is identical to this one but quieter, calmer, deeper. A leaf falls from an overhanging tree and touches the water, and the tiniest ripples spread outward in perfect circles, widening, slowing, until the surface is still again. He restores my soul. He restores. He brings back. He refills. Whatever has been depleted in you today, whatever energy was spent, whatever patience was exhausted, whatever joy was dimmed, it is being restored, right now, in this quiet, in this dark, in this rest. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. I will fear no evil, not because there is no darkness, there is, but because I am not alone in it, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. The shepherd's rod, the shepherd's staff, tools for guiding, tools for protecting, tools for pulling the sheep back when it wanders too close to the edge. You are being guided, even when you can't see the path, even when the night is dark and you don't know what morning will bring. Someone is guiding you. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Goodness and mercy, following you, not ahead of you where you have to chase them, behind you, following, like faithful companions who refuse to leave your side. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. You will dwell, you will stay, you will rest, not as a visitor, not as a guest who has to leave, but as someone who belongs, who has a place, who is home. Home. You are home tonight, wherever you are lying, whatever room you are in, whatever bed or couch or corner you have found, you are home. Because home is not a place. Home is the feeling of being held, of being known, of being safe. And you are safe. Let the hillside stay with you, the soft grass, the breeze from the lake, the sparrows, the lilies, the still waters. Let them surround you like a gentle painting that you can step into whenever you need to rest. Number Divine Rest, the life of Jesus Christ. Part 6, the Sea of Galilee, walking on water and calming the storm. The Sea of Galilee. It's not really a sea, not in the way you might imagine seas, vast and endless and crashing. It's a lake, a large, beautiful freshwater lake, nestled in a basin of green and brown hills, like a jewel lying in the palm of a great gentle hand. In the evening, the Sea of Galilee is perhaps the most peaceful body of water in the world. Picture it with me now. The sun is setting behind the western hills. The sky is on fire, but gently. Not the fire of burning, the fire of embers, of coals in a hearth. Warm oranges and deep roses and soft purples, bleeding into one another like watercolors on wet paper. And the lake takes all of those colors and reflects them, doubles them, so that the beauty is above you and below you and all around you, as if you are floating inside a sunset. The water is flat, perfectly, impossibly flat, like glass, like polished bronze, like a mirror that has been set down on the earth by someone who wanted to show the sky its own face. Small ripples move across the surface from time to time, gentle disturbances caused by fish rising to catch insects or by the faintest breath of wind. The ripples catch the last light and turn it into liquid gold, tiny rivers of light running across the water like veins of precious metal. On the shore, the pebbles are smooth and round. They click softly against each other when the water laps against them. Click, 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 like a very slow, very quiet clock counting time in water language. Fishing boats are moored along the shore. Wooden boats, simple and strong. Their hulls are wet and dark. Their nets hang from masts, drying in the warm evening air, smelling of lake water and fish and rope. This is where Jesus spent so much of his time, by this lake, on this water, among these boats and nets and fishermen. One evening, after a long day of being with people, of listening and teaching and healing, Jesus was tired. He was human, remember? He got tired, his feet ached, his voice grew hoarse, his eyes grew heavy, just like yours do, just like mine. He turned to his friends, his disciples, and said simply, "Let us go over to the other side. Let us go to the other side of the lake, away from the crowds, away from the noise, into the quiet." They climbed into one of those wooden boats. The boat rocked gently as they stepped aboard, the water sloshing softly against the hull. Slosh, slosh, slosh. The fishermen among them, Peter, Andrew, James, John, they knew this boat. They knew its groans and creaks. They knew how it moved on the water. They took up the oars and began to row. The oars dipped into the water with a soft, rhythmic splash. Splash, pull, splash, pull. The boat moved out onto the lake. The shore grew distant. The voices of the crowd faded, and all that remained was the sound of the oars, the gentle rocking of the boat, and the great, quiet expanse of water all around them. And Jesus, exhausted from the day, found a cushion at the back of the boat, a simple cushion, probably a fisherman's pillow, stuffed with dried reeds and covered in rough cloth. He lay down on that cushion. He closed his eyes, and within moments he was asleep. Think about that for a moment. On a small wooden boat, on a vast body of water, with nothing above him but the darkening sky, and nothing below him but the deep, and he slept, deeply, peacefully, the way a child sleeps when it knows its parents are near. The boat rocked him gently, back and forth, like a cradle, like arms holding him, like the steady breathing of the world itself. And then a wind came. It started softly, just a change in the air, the kind of change you feel on your skin before you hear it, the temperature dropping slightly, the atmosphere shifting, something gathering. The wind grew. The flat, glassy surface of the lake began to stir. Small waves appeared, then larger ones. The boat began to lift and drop, lift and drop. The disciples grew nervous, especially those who were not fishermen. The waves were growing. White foam appeared on their crests. The wind howled across the water, pushing the boat sideways, tilting it. Water began to spray over the sides. The wood groaned. The ropes creaked. The sails flapped wildly like panicked birds. Now, I want to pause here, because this is a sleep story, and I'm not going to make this frightening. That's not what tonight is for. Instead, I want you to notice something remarkable. Through all of this, through the wind and the waves and the groaning of the boat and the shouting of the men, Jesus slept. He slept on that little cushion at the back of the boat, his chest rising and falling slowly, his face at peace, his body completely surrendered to rest. How? How could anyone sleep through a storm? Because he knew something that the others hadn't learned yet. He knew that the storm was not the final word. He knew that the water could not swallow him. He knew that he was held by something deeper than the deep. And you, tonight, are held by that same something. Whatever storms are blowing through your life right now, whatever winds are howling, whatever waves are crashing, you are in the boat, and the boat is held, and you can sleep. The disciples finally woke him. "Don't you care that we're drowning?" they asked, their voices ragged with fear. And Jesus stood up, slowly, calmly, the way someone stands up when they are not afraid. Water dripped from his hair, the wind whipped his robes, the boat pitched beneath his feet. And he looked at the wind, and he looked at the waves, and he said, very simply, very quietly, with the same calm authority he used when speaking to people on a hillside, "Peace, be still. Peace, be still." And the wind stopped, just stopped, as if someone had reached out and caught it in their hand. And the waves began to flatten, slowly at first, then faster, like wrinkles being smoothed from a sheet of silk. The white foam dissolved, the crests melted, the surface grew calm, and then calmer, and then impossibly, perfectly still. The great stillness that followed was deeper than ordinary stillness. It was the stillness of a held breath released, the stillness of fear giving way to wonder, the stillness of a world that has remembered it is safe. The boat rocked gently on the now quiet water. The stars appeared overhead, one by one, as if they had been waiting for the storm to pass before coming out. And in the silence, the only sounds were the soft lapping of water against the hull, and the slow, deep breathing of the men who had just discovered something they would never forget. That the voice that said, "Peace, be still," to the wind and the waves, is the same voice that speaks to the storms inside you, to the racing thoughts that won't slow down. Peace, be still. To the worry that tightens your chest at night. Peace, be still. To the fear that whispers terrible things in the dark. Peace, be still. To the restless, spinning, never-stopping mind that tells you that you must stay awake, that you must stay alert, that something could go wrong. Peace, be still. The storm is over. The water is calm. The stars are out. And you are in the boat, rocking gently, gently, on the quiet, dark water of the night. On another night, a different night, but the same beautiful dark lake, the disciples were out on the water again, rowing, alone this time. Jesus had stayed behind on the shore to pray. The night was deep. The sky was thick with stars. The water was dark, that particular liquid darkness that deep water has at night, where you can see the stars reflected below you and above you, and for a moment you can't tell which is sky and which is water, and you feel as if you are floating in space itself. And then they saw something, a figure, moving toward them across the water. Not in a boat, not swimming, walking, the way you would walk across a field, slowly, steadily, as if the water were solid ground. Each step sent gentle ripples outward across the dark surface, silver circles expanding and fading in the starlight. It was Jesus, walking on the night water, as if the laws of the universe were suggestions he could accept or decline as he saw fit. And when the disciples were afraid, because who wouldn't be, seeing someone walk on water in the dark, he called out to them, the same words, the same gentle, calm words. "Take heart, it is I. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. It is I, Peter, always the bold one, always the one who leaped before he looked, called back, 'Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you on the water.' and Jesus said one word, "Come." Come. And Peter stepped out of the boat, out of safety, out of certainty, onto the dark water. And for a moment, he walked. He actually walked. On water. On the impossible. On the surface of every fear he had ever had. But then he noticed the wind. He noticed the waves. He looked down. He thought about what he was doing. And the thinking, the analyzing, the worrying, pulled him under. He began to sink. And he cried out, the simplest, most honest prayer ever spoken, "Lord, save me!" And immediately, not after a pause, not after a lesson, not after a lecture, immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. He caught him. If you are sinking tonight, if you feel the dark water rising, if the weight of the world is pulling you under, there is a hand reaching for you, right now, in the dark. You don't have to have perfect faith. You don't have to have the right words. You just have to reach. And you will be caught. You will be held. You will be lifted. The night is deep. The water is dark. But you are not alone on it. You are safe. You are held. You are loved. Divine Rest. The Life of Jesus Christ. Part 7. The Good Shepherd. Counting the Sheep. 20 minutes. Jesus loved to tell stories. Simple stories. Stories about everyday things. Seeds and soil. Bread and wine. Coins and lamps and lost things found. But perhaps his most beautiful story, the one that has comforted more people at night than any other, was the story of the shepherd and his sheep. "I am the good shepherd," he said, quietly, as if telling a secret that he wanted everyone to hear. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. Now, let me take you somewhere. Let me take you to a hillside at dusk, where a shepherd is bringing his flock home for the night. The sky is turning that deep, soft blue that comes just after sunset. Not dark yet, not light, that in-between color that exists for only a few minutes, when the world seems to be made of velvet. The hills are quiet. The heat of the day is fading. The air is cooling. And on the hillside, a flock of sheep is moving slowly, like a cloud that has settled on the earth. The shepherd walks behind them, not hurrying, not driving, just guiding, a gentle presence at their back. His staff taps lightly on the ground as he walks. Tap, 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 a steady rhythm that the sheep know and trust. They know his voice. They've heard it every day of their lives. In the morning when he calls them from the fold. In the afternoon when he leads them to water. In the evening when he counts them home. His voice is low and warm. He talks to them as he walks, not in words that we would understand. Soft sounds, clicking, humming, little melodies that mean, "This way," and "Slow down," and "I'm here." The sheepfold is a circle of rough stones, built generations ago by other shepherds on this same piece of land. The walls are waist-high. Inside, the ground is soft with dry grass and straw. There is one opening, one gap in the stones, and at night, when all the sheep are inside, the shepherd lies down across that gap. His body becomes the door. Think about that. He doesn't lock a gate. He doesn't set a trap. He lies down. He places himself, his own living, breathing body, between the sheep and whatever might come in the night. Nothing can reach them without passing through him first. "I am the gate," Jesus said. "Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture." You are inside the fold tonight. The walls are around you. The gate is guarded. Nothing that means you harm can reach you here. Now the shepherd counts his flock, one by one. As each sheep passes through the opening into the fold, he touches its head gently, runs his fingers through its wool, and counts. Follow the counting with me. Let it slow your thoughts. Let each number be a step further into rest. 1. The first sheep enters, a large ewe with thick, cream-colored wool. She presses against the shepherd's hand as she passes, and he murmurs something to her. She is known. She is named. 2. A younger sheep, smaller, quick on its feet. It trots through the opening and immediately settles into the hay. 3. 4. 5. An old ram with a scarred face and heavy horns. He has been in this flock for many years. He walks slowly now. The shepherd gives him extra time, extra gentleness. The old ones are the most precious. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Feel your body growing heavier. Feel the counting pulling you gently downward, like floating in warm water, sinking slowly, slowly. 11, 12, 13. The sheep are settling inside the fold. They press close to one another, sharing warmth. Their wool is thick and soft, like the coziest blanket you've ever touched. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The shepherd keeps counting. His voice is steady, calm, unhurried. 21, 22, 23. The stars are appearing now, more and more of them. The sky above the sheepfold is becoming a dome of light. Thousands of tiny fires burning silently in the vast darkness. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Each number is softer than the last. Each sheep that enters is a worry put down, a thought released, a burden lifted. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. The fold is filling up. Warm bodies, soft breathing, the sound of sheep settling in for the night, shuffling in the straw, sighing into sleep. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. You don't need to keep counting if you don't want to. The shepherd will count the rest. He knows the number. He knows every single one. 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53. The night deepens. The air cools. The wool grows warmer. 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. But then, the shepherd pauses. He counts again. He looks out over his flock, and his face changes. Something is missing. "What do you think?" Jesus asked the crowd. "If a man has 100 sheep and one of them wanders off, will he not leave the 99 on the hills and go look for the one that is lost?" One missing sheep, out of 100. Most people would accept the loss. 99% is a good return. Write it off. Move on. But not this shepherd. Not this one. He leaves the 99. He steps through the opening of the fold, out into the dark, out into the cold, out into the hills where wolves prowl and the ground is uneven, and the thorns catch at your clothes. And he searches. He calls the sheep's name, because he knows its name. He knows the sound it makes. He knows the way it walks. He knows which patch of clover it always wanders off to find. He searches the dark ravines. He checks behind the rocks. He wades through the thorny brush. His hands get scratched. His feet get sore. But he doesn't stop. Because one is worth everything. One is worth the cold and the dark and the thorns. One matters. You matter. If you were the one who had wandered off, if you were the one lost in the dark tonight, cold and afraid and alone, he would come for you, without hesitation, without complaint, without counting the cost. And then he finds it, the lost sheep, huddled behind a rock, trembling, tired, unable to find its way back. And does he scold it? No. Does he punish it? No. Does he drag it home roughly? No. He picks it up, gently, like lifting a child. He places it across his shoulders, its warm weight resting on his neck, its legs draped over his chest, and he carries it home. And when he finds it, Jesus said, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Joyfully, that's the word. Not angrily, not reluctantly, joyfully. He is glad. He is glad to have found you. And he carries you home, all the way home. You don't have to walk. You don't have to find the way. You don't have to do anything but rest on his shoulders and let him carry you. The shepherd returns to the fold. He lays the lost sheep down among the others. It presses close to its flockmates. Its breathing slows. Its trembling stops. It is warm. It is found. It is home. And the shepherd lies down across the opening. His body is the door once more, and the 100 are complete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All here, all safe, all known, all loved. And now, the shepherd keeps watch. He lies on his back across the threshold of the fold. The ground beneath him is hard. The night air is cold, but he doesn't mind. This is his place. This is his purpose. Above him, the sky is a cathedral of stars. He knows their patterns. He's watched them turn slowly across the sky, night after night, season after season, the same faithful, silent procession. He doesn't sleep, not all the way. He rests, lightly, one ear always listening, for the sound of wolves in the distance, for the stirring of a restless sheep, for the cry of a lamb having a bad dream. But the sheep sleep deeply, because the shepherd is awake, because the door is guarded, because the walls are strong. And you can sleep deeply too, because the one who watches over you will neither slumber nor sleep. He is awake so that you don't have to be. He is watching so that you can close your eyes. He is listening so that you can stop listening. You can put down the watch. You can let go of the vigil. You can stop scanning the dark for threats. The shepherd is at the gate. Nothing gets past him. Nothing. So sleep, little sheep. Sleep deeply. Sleep long. Sleep without fear. You are in the fold. The walls are around you. The shepherd is at the door. The stars are turning slowly overhead, and the night is long and deep and safe. Divine Rest, the Life of Jesus Christ. Part 8, The Gentle Healer. Touch and Restoration, 15 minutes. Wherever Jesus went, people came to him. Not because he demanded, not because he insisted, but because something about his presence made you feel like you could put down whatever you were carrying, like the weight you'd been holding for years wasn't yours to hold anymore. They came from the villages, they came from the city, they came from the margins, from the edges of society where nobody looked and nobody asked and nobody cared. And he touched them. In a world where sick people were avoided, where lepers were outcasts, where the broken and the bleeding were considered unclean, he touched them. There was a woman. We don't know her name. The story doesn't tell us. It only tells us that she had been bleeding for 12 years. 12 years. Think about how long that is. 12 years of pain. 12 years of being told she was unclean. 12 years of isolation. 12 years of hoping it would stop, and it didn't. She had spent everything she had on doctors. They had poked and prodded and prescribed, and nothing had worked. Nothing. And one day, she heard that Jesus was passing through her town, and something stirred in her. Not certainty, not faith the way it looks in paintings, just hope. That small, quiet, stubborn thing that won't quite die no matter how hard you try to kill it. If I could just touch the edge of his cloak, she thought. If I could just reach out, even for a moment. She pushed through the crowd. It was thick, bodies pressing against her on every side. She was weak. She was tired. Every step cost her something. But she reached, and her fingertips, the very tips of her fingers, brushed the edge of his garment, the hem, the rough woven edge of a simple robe. And immediately she felt it, a warmth, spreading from her fingertips through her hand, up her arm, into her chest, into every part of her that had been hurting for so long. The bleeding stopped. After 12 years, it stopped. Jesus felt something too. He turned. He looked around. "Who touched me?" he asked. The woman, trembling, came forward, fell at his feet.
And Jesus, he didn't scold her. He didn't recoil. He looked at her with the kind of gentleness that makes you want to cry, and he said, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering." Daughter. He called her daughter, not woman, not stranger. Daughter, family. Go in peace. Be freed from your suffering. If there is something in your body tonight that aches, something that has been hurting for a long time, something you've tried to fix and can't, let those words settle over you like a warm blanket. Go in peace. Be freed. You don't have to fix it tonight. You don't have to understand it tonight. You just have to rest. People brought their children to Jesus, small children, toddlers with round cheeks and sticky fingers, babies wrapped in cloth, children who squirmed and laughed and pulled at beards and didn't understand the significance of anything. The disciples tried to stop them. "He's busy," they said. "He's important. Don't bother him with children." And Jesus, for one of the few times in all the stories, became upset with his disciples. "Let the little children come to me," he said. "Do not stop them, for the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these." And he took them in his arms. He held them. He blessed them. He placed his hands on their heads, those small, soft heads, and he prayed for them. Imagine being held like that, not for what you can do, not for what you know, not for your accomplishments or your intelligence or your usefulness, but the way a child is held, simply because you exist, simply because you are small and precious and you need holding. You are allowed to be small tonight. You are allowed to need. You are allowed to be held. One afternoon, thousands of people had gathered to hear Jesus speak. They had been there for hours. The sun was low. People were hungry. Children were fussing. The disciples were practical men. "Send them away," they suggested. "There are villages nearby where they can buy food." But Jesus said, "You give them something to eat." All they could find was a small boy's lunch, 5 small loaves of barley bread and 2 dried fish, a meal barely big enough for one child. Jesus took the bread. He held it in his hands. He looked up at the sky, and he gave thanks. Imagine the bread in his hands, warm, brown, crusty, smelling of yeast and fire. Simple bread, the bread of the poor, the bread of every day. And he broke it, and he shared it, and somehow, impossibly, beautifully, there was enough. Enough for everyone. 5,000 people, families, strangers, each one fed, each one filled, each one satisfied. And when it was over, 12 baskets were left over, more than they started with. There is enough for you tonight. Whatever you feel you are lacking,
whatever emptiness you are carrying, whatever scarcity whispers in your ear that there is not enough time, not enough love, not enough strength. There is enough. There is more than enough. There is 12 baskets left over. And the people, full and warm and satisfied, lay down on the grass in the cool of the evening. Families together, children sleeping against their parents. The whole hillside became a bedroom, a vast, open-air bedroom under the stars. And it was good, and it was enough, and everyone rested. There was another woman. Her name we don't know either, but she met Jesus at a well. It was the middle of the day, the hottest part. She had come to draw water at this hour because the other women came in the morning, and she was avoiding them. She had a complicated life, a painful past. She felt the weight of their judgment like stones in her pockets. She was surprised to find anyone at the well at this hour, but there he was, sitting on the edge of the stone, tired from walking, thirsty. He asked her for water, simple as that, a simple request from a stranger, and they talked, about water, about thirst, about the kind of thirst that water can't quench, the deep, aching thirst for belonging, for acceptance, for being truly known and truly loved anyway. Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, Jesus told her. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. The water I give will become a spring, welling up inside them. A spring, not a well you have to draw from. A spring, something that rises up on its own, something that never runs dry. And the most beautiful part of this story is that Jesus knew her. He knew everything about her, all the messy, complicated, painful parts, all the things she was ashamed of, all the reasons she came to the well at noon instead of morning. He knew it all, and he didn't turn away. He stayed, he talked, he offered her water. You are known tonight, all of you, the parts you show the world and the parts you hide, the parts you're proud of and the parts you're ashamed of, all of it, known and loved, not in spite of it, through it. The water in the well is cool and clear, the stone is warm from the sun, the air shimmers with heat, and two people sit and talk, like old friends, like family, like souls that have always known each other but are meeting for the first time in this life. You are not too much. You are not too broken. You are not too far gone. You are just thirsty, and there is water, living water, and it is offered to you freely. Rest now. Drink deeply from the quiet. Let the night be your well. Let the silence be your water. Near the end of his story, Jesus went to a garden, Gethsemane. The name means olive press. It was a grove of ancient olive trees on the slopes of a hill called the Mount of Olives, just outside the walls of Jerusalem. Tonight, we won't dwell on the heaviness of what happened there. That's not what this story is for. Tonight, we'll visit the garden itself, the place, the trees, the quiet. Because even the heaviest nights have beauty in them. Even the darkest hours have stars. Imagine the Garden of Gethsemane in the deep of night. The olive trees are old, so old. Their trunks are thick and twisted, centuries of growth spiraling upward like frozen rivers of wood. Their bark is rough and deeply grooved, like the face of someone who has seen everything and is no longer surprised by any of it. The branches spread wide, creating a canopy of silver-green leaves that shimmer faintly in the moonlight. The leaves of an olive tree are pale on their undersides, and when the breeze turns them, they catch the light like tiny mirrors. The ground beneath the trees is soft, covered in fallen leaves and dry grass and the husks of old olives. It smells of earth, deep, rich, ancient earth. The kind of earth that has been holding trees for 1,000 years and will hold them for 1,000 more. The air is cool, not cold. The kind of cool that makes you want to wrap your cloak a little tighter, to pull the warmth closer, to curl into yourself like a cat settling by a fire. And it is quiet, so quiet. The city is behind the hill, its sounds muffled, distant. Here in the garden, there is only the wind in the leaves, the occasional hoot of an owl, and the rhythmic chirping of crickets. Chirp, 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 like a pulse, like the heartbeat of the night itself. Jesus came here often. It was his quiet place, his sanctuary, the place where he could be alone with his thoughts, alone with the Father, alone with the stars and the old, patient trees. And on this particular night, he prayed. Not a performance, not a recitation, a conversation. The kind of conversation you have when there is no one left to impress, when all the masks are off, when you are just a person, talking to someone you trust completely. Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. I don't want to do the hard thing. I wish there were another way. How human is that? How familiar. Haven't you felt that? Lying in the dark, facing something you don't want to face, wishing the morning wouldn't come, wishing the hard thing would go away. And then, the second part of his prayer, the part that makes all the difference. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. I trust you, even when I can't see the way through, even when I'm afraid, even when every part of me wants to run. I trust you. And an angel came, not with trumpets, not with fire, just came and strengthened him, quietly, the way someone sits beside you in a hospital room, not saying anything, just being there, just adding their presence to yours. You are not alone in your garden tonight. Whatever you are facing tomorrow, whatever cup you wish would pass, you are not alone. The olive trees stand watch. The crickets keep their rhythm. The stars turn slowly overhead. And in the quiet, you are held. Some nights are longer than others. Some nights, the darkness feels like it will never end, like the sun has forgotten its job, like morning is a memory from a previous life. This was one of those nights, the longest night, the darkest. But we're not going to dwell there, because every long night, no matter how long, has a dawn. Every darkness, no matter how deep, gives way to light. That is the law of the universe. That is the promise written into the rotation of the earth itself. Night always ends. Morning always comes. Always. So let us move through the darkness gently, the way you move through a tunnel, knowing that the light at the end is real, even when you can't see it yet. And while we move, breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, in, slowly, gently, hold, easily, softly, out, completely, fully. The darkness is not empty. The darkness is full of rest. The darkness is where seeds grow, where babies dream, where the earth restores itself. The darkness is your friend tonight. It is not something to fear. It is something to sink into, like warm water, like deep sleep, like the space between one breath and the next. And then, the sky begins to change, not suddenly, not all at once, the way real dawns happen, slowly, gradually, one shade at a time. The deepest black of night softens to dark blue. The dark blue lightens to something between blue and gray. The gray warms to lavender. The lavender brightens to pale rose. And then, the first light. A thin golden line on the eastern horizon, so thin it looks like someone has drawn it with a brush dipped in liquid gold. The birds know before anyone else. They begin to sing. One voice first, tentative, testing the air. Then another joins, then another, until the whole garden is alive with birdsong, a chorus that has been performed every morning since the beginning of time, and has never once been rehearsed. The dew is heavy on the grass. Each blade holds a tiny droplet, and as the light touches them, they turn into diamonds. The whole ground sparkles, as if the earth has dressed itself in jewels to celebrate the morning. And in this garden, a different garden now, a garden with a tomb, a woman comes. Her name is Mary, Mary Magdalene. She comes in the early morning, while it is still half dark, carrying spices and grief and love. She comes to the tomb where Jesus was laid. A cave, a stone rolled across the entrance. The final heavy period at the end of the saddest sentence ever spoken. But the stone is moved. The tomb is open, and inside it is empty. Not the emptiness of absence, the emptiness of completion, the emptiness of a cocoon after the butterfly has emerged, the emptiness of a womb after the baby has been born. Mary stands in the garden, confused, grief-stricken, blinded by tears. The morning light is growing stronger around her. The birds are singing. The dew is sparkling, and she doesn't understand. And then, a voice behind her. Mary. Just her name. That's all. Just her name, spoken in a voice she knows better than her own. And she turns, and he is there, standing in the garden, in the early morning light, alive. Not a ghost, not a memory, not a metaphor. Alive. The way the sun is alive every morning, the way spring is alive after winter, the way hope is alive in the chest of everyone who has ever lain in the dark and wondered if things would ever get better. They get better. They always get better. The stone is always rolled away. The tomb is always empty. The morning always comes. Mary. He says your name too, in the quiet of the night, in the space between waking and sleeping, in the gentle dark that holds you right now. Your name, spoken with tenderness, spoken with knowing, spoken with the kind of love that has walked through death and come out the other side. Later that same day, 2 of Jesus' followers were walking on a road, the road from Jerusalem to a village called Emmaus. It was a long road, about 7 miles, and they walked it slowly, the way you walk when your heart is heavy and your thoughts are far away. They talked quietly to each other as they walked, about everything that had happened, about the confusion, about the grief, about the strange reports from the women at the tomb. And a stranger joined them on the road. He fell into step beside them, matching their pace, walking with them as if he had always been there. He asked them what they were talking about, and they told him. All of it. Every heartbreak, every fear, every question without an answer. And the stranger, who was Jesus, though they didn't know it yet, walked with them and listened, and then, gently, he began to explain. He took the whole story, from the very beginning, and wove it together for them, slowly, patiently, like someone untangling a knotted thread. They walked for hours, the road unwinding before them, through fields and orchards and past stone walls covered in wild vines. The sun moved across the sky, the shadows lengthened, and when they reached Emmaus, as evening fell, they said to him, "Stay with us, it's nearly evening, the day is almost over." Stay with us, it's nearly evening. And he went in, and they sat at a table together, and he took bread, and he blessed it, and he broke it. And in that moment, in the breaking of bread, their eyes were opened, and they knew him. He had been with them the whole time, walking beside them, matching their pace, listening to their grief, explaining everything they didn't understand. He is with you too, has been the whole time, through this whole long day, through every mile you've walked, through every heavy conversation, through every moment you felt alone. He was there, walking beside you, matching your pace, never rushing, never leaving. And now, as the evening settles around you, as the day is nearly over, he stays with you. The night is deep now, the story is nearly finished, and you are nearly asleep. Or perhaps you already are. Perhaps you drifted off somewhere in the sheepfold, or on the boat, or in the garden at dawn. If so, that is beautiful. That is exactly as it should be. But if you are still here, still listening, still floating in this gentle space between waking and sleeping, I have one more thing to share with you. After everything, after the birth in the stable and the years in Nazareth, after the baptism in the river and the teachings on the hillside, after the storms and the healings and the bread broken for thousands, after the garden and the cross and the empty tomb, after all of it, Jesus said this: "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. My peace I give to you." Not the world's peace, not the peace that depends on everything going right, not the peace that breaks when circumstances change. His peace, the kind that sleeps through storms, the kind that walks on dark water, the kind that lies down across the doorway and guards you through the night. Do not let your heart be troubled. Do not be afraid. You are safe tonight. You have always been safe, even when it didn't feel like it, even when the waves were high, even when the sheep was lost, even when the night was long. You were never alone, not for a single moment. And tomorrow, when the morning comes, and it will come, you will rise, rested, restored, ready. But that is tomorrow's work, not tonight's. Tonight, your only work is to sleep. So sleep now. Sleep the way Jesus slept on the boat, deeply, peacefully, knowing that the storm has a master. Sleep the way the sheep sleep in the fold, surrounded, watched over, known by name. Sleep the way the baby slept in the manger, in the warm glow of lamplight, in the scent of straw, in the breathing of gentle animals. Sleep the way the earth sleeps in winter, trusting that spring will come. You are safe. You are held. You are loved. You are known. In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. Good night, dear one. Good night.